So we're here today with Sven Sommar. He is a young hotel owner in South America who's no stranger to real estate deals and business. Sven Sommar, we're really pleasure to have you here joining us.
Thank you.
I just been watching you now for several months and very impressed with your success as a young entrepreneur doing business and also a hotelier. Maybe you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about the hotels that you have launched and
Sure.
How you come up with the names in the first place.
Well, thank you for having us. Me, first of all. I've been in the business, real estate business, 12 years now. Hospitality business, about 8. We bought and then refurbished one small hotel in Tulum, Mexico, 4 years ago, which is called Encantada. The name was existing. We rebranded it and repositioned the brand and improved the brand. We're working hard on keeping the momentum that it had, and it's still number one TripAdvisor in Tulum. It's a small hotel of 8 rooms, so it's the focus really on client experience and content that the hotel has, as well as uniqueness, as we believe. And then we built a second hotel. This is called La Valise Tulum, also in Tulum, Mexico, right next to Katanga. That is, the brand was pre-existing of my partner, that he has one La Valise in Mexico City, and the second one was launched in Tulum.
Oh wow. Well, that's wonderful. And what attracted you to buy the first hotel in Katanga?
So we felt Tulum had growth, and there's still some growth left in the market. So in terms of a trajectory, we were ahead of the curve, which I think we were. There's been some more growth. It's getting more and more competitive, the market. There's more and more hotel rooms in Tulum. But we feel that through our unique structure that we have in the hotels and in the small setup, we can provide a unique experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, I talked to a lot of aspiring hoteliers or current hoteliers, and they always had that magic moment when they were looking at the hotel and they got into the business.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually, once people are in the business, they usually grow and stay in the business a long time. So what was it about, this was your first hotel, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So when you were there, you saw that it was existing, and you obviously saw there was ways that you could improve it. What was that thing about this hotel that made you want to go in and buy it? And what kind of added value have you done since?
So we looked at a couple of different options in the market, and it was the one that stuck out in terms of one is structure, because you look at obviously maintenance aspects on the property. So how well was it built? That had a lot to do with it. We had confidence in the seller, so we had a good relationship with the seller and a good report, so there was confidence that the transaction would go smoothly. The location within the destination, it's a small destination, but there's a stretch that's a bit more quiet along the beach that is located towards that end. That also had to do with it. So it still remains more of the quaint area of the destination.
Oh, I see. Okay. So there's all those things combined, and then you saw that you could add some value as far as the way it was being marketed.
Correct.
And maybe some other property improvements as well, or?
Correct. So we changed some things around with the entrance and the way the flow was configured walking into the property. We're looking to add more rooms, so we're working on this one. That was the first step to sort of create space and where we want to put more rooms. So we're going to add more rooms this year. And within the rooms, we're able to redecorate and create some more flair.
Wow, all right, and perfect. And now, as far as going now into the business part of running the hotel, I know you might have had some concerns about OTAs, and how's the relationship, been with you and the OTAs? What are you looking to do in the future to, talk about the economics about the hotel?
I mean, I think when we started, especially Tulum, the OTAs were present. It was still a market that was so hidden in a way that people were trying to, were booking direct, and we weren't as dependent on the OTAs. Now that the market has grown and there's more hotel rooms and everybody still tends to work with OTAs, you have to be on them. So that's, you can't get around them. And then obviously they're a great help in marketing the properties. Yet everybody also tries to drive sales to the website directly. So we obviously try to do that as much as we can, but we have good relationships with the OTAs. So we need them. Some properties sell more through the agents than others, but I think it has a lot to do with brand building. I see the consumer aspect of the OTAs because it's a loyalty to the OTAs as well, especially if you use an OTA more often, there's loyalty programs, so that's why people tend to stick with them. But if you're able to, I think, create a brand that's attractive enough and people find you online and really enjoy the website part of it also, and the experience, so that they tend to go directly better.
That's something that I feel like a lot of really unique property owners could expand the value more for their clients, because the clients is also looking for more value than just regular listing page of a hotel. They want to know more. They want to know more about planning the whole trip than just after the room is booked. Now, speaking to that, what are your future growth plans for these properties? It's a limited amount of rooms. Obviously, expanding rooms is going to help. But how about group bookings or other types of hosting of events? What are some of your ideas for expansion?
In terms of growth, room count, I think it's going to be limited to the size of the property, because I also feel that if you overcrowd the property in terms of the footprint, there's only a certain amount of space we have on the beach. You're going to lose that exclusivity that we try to sell, right? And I think rather than adding more rooms or oversaturating the property with too many rooms, we want to sell a good amount of rooms with a great experience, and so have that experience part be really the unique selling aspect, which is content, which is the service to the client, content meaning activities and free holistic experiences that we offer on property, and obviously the direct contact to our team that's always there and very, very service driven.
Very interesting. And what are your clients mostly looking for when they're over there? Like, what are some ways that you could fulfill those expectations? Have they changed from when you started?
I think they're still looking for similar items, which is to get away. Also because Tulum is a beach destination, so they want to spend time on the beach. They want, particularly in our hotels, they try to get away from some of the noise, either at home, but also now in Tulum, certain hotels open and they have music during the day. They have beach clubs. That's something we shy away from, so we don't play music at the beach. We try to keep it really quiet, just for people to become close to nature. Obviously, one, to enjoy the beach and really enjoy the sound of the ocean, more than being drowned out by a DJ during the day. There's still enough for that at night.
I understand. And when you're in Tulum, I know you go there a lot to Mexico, and you're also looking at other investments outside of just Tulum. What's your go-to food options when you're in Mexico? Because I know there's a lot of talk about the good food over there.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to travelers and to guests?
So we opened a restaurant also, which is called New. I recommend that highly. There's Arca, another restaurant in Tulum, which is very popular. Hardwood, great restaurant, and Sven Sommar. So those are the ones that I would definitely check out when in Tulum, and then generally I think Mexico-wide you have to have, you just have to try out all the different food stands also on the streets.
I see. All right, everybody, so check out Sven's new restaurant. It's New,
yeah.
And the website?
And newtulum.com.
New, N-U, Tulum.com. That's Sven's new restaurant. And what's the best dish on this restaurant that people should try?
We have a like a rice paella, a vegan rice paella with mushroom infusion, which is very popular. We have a duck with our mole, which is typical Mexican dish and so sauce. That's the ducks and braised in. So those are the two favorite dishes, I would say.
Wow. All right. So you heard that from the owner. You know what to do when you're in that restaurant and when you're down in Tulum. So now, talking about people starting out, I know that you didn't come necessarily from a background in buying hotels. Is it something you fell into? Is it something that you always had in mind when you were younger to eventually get to hotels?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could tell people about the journey, because it's a great thing to be a hotel owner. So how did you get into this position?
Well, yeah, I mean it's fun. That's one thing. I always had a tendency to enjoy hospitality when I was working when I was studying in university in London. I was working in nightclubs and restaurants to sort of compensate the living expenses of working of studying in London. So that's sort of the first experience I had and touch with hospitality, and I loved it. And I came to the US and worked in real estate, launched a low-income housing fund. That was fun and exciting, but never really fulfilled me from the hospitality aspect, from the service side that I learned to enjoy. And then the opportunity came for the hotels, and we grabbed it. And since then, it's been something that's been a lot of fun, a lot of work, and I think that's the future also for me to try to find more projects similar that can be launched. I think we're working and living in a changing world, especially on the hospitality side. I think it's something that you have to think hard about what kind of product you're going to bring to market. It's very competitive. I think the way consumers consume is ever changing, so you have to be really on top of the game. And even with the existing product you have, even the hotels that we have, I think we're going to have to look at adapting and adjusting constantly in order to be competitive.
Mm-hmm. I see. Is it because it's competitive as far as there's too many number of rooms, or it's just the travelers are very selective and can be of where they're going to spend their money?
I think both. One thing is that we've seen also people tend to book a lot later in the year, so a lot more short term. People don't tend to plan too far out. They want to be tied down even before any health crisis came along. But people tend to sort of make a shorter term decision, which means obviously you're right. Your revenue management has to be in line with that.
Yes.
And there's generally just a lot more options available. So even if it's not within the destination, people are just looking elsewhere. They're also looking for the next new destination coming up. So
yeah, I feel like also they want more of a reason to make the trip, to make these trips these days. So an extra allure of being in a specific property is going to make them move faster, or make them move to a destination where they could choose other destinations.
Correct.
With another type of appeal. So basically, so your primary thing that you would say is to really think and about the positioning and the type of property you're going to bring to market. You said that would be. What other type of advice would you recommend to be a successful hotelier that it takes?
I think it takes more than just the hotel room and the property these days. I think you have to create what we call content, right? There has to be a curated experience in the everyday stay of the client, which could be activities, ceremonies, it could be rituals that we have every day during breakfast, or the way the concierge receives you, the way the housekeeping staff treats you. It has to be unique, right? So some people are looking for a little bit of extra. If it's pillow mist at night, candle ceremonies before people go to bed, turn down, little things that you just have to add them all together, and I think that's what we call a curated content experience.
I see. So it's like building a personality inside the hotel.
A character, yeah.
Character from the start. It's not just how good the property looks, what type of material it's made from, but how it talks, how it's the personality, the unique.
I think personality is exactly the right word. Personality is something that is created, no? But it comes together through many factors. It's, you know, the materials you use in the construction, the staff that works with you, the booking experience to start with, the way you leave the property, the way the hotel follows up with you afterwards.
I see. So what measures do you take to maintain that personality you've created at Encantada?
So we try to be consistent in the approach that we take and what we deliver, which becomes harder at times. We try to follow up with the guests, obviously. We try to be in touch with them afterwards, and from the beginning. So once the guest books, we try to prepare them for their stay coming up. We give them lots of options to sort of activate through our concierge within the destination. If they want to reserve the restaurants, we then work during the stay on how they want to best spend their day.
What best spend their day?
How they want to spend their day. So we go into detail and try to curate and what they want to do during the day. If it's in the hotel or outside the hotel.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow. So you're actually investing time, bringing outside people who know the area to try to.
We sort of outsource that experience, no? But we work with our concierge with certain guides or services within the destination that then help them experience that uniqueness.
Oh, I see. That's a good measure, actually. To add, not to be thinking about the guests beyond just how they're sleeping in the room.
Correct.
It's what they wake up to, what they enjoy every part of the time that they're there. That's amazing. Now, what do you think about, like, as far as technology, how it's playing a role in this, in all these missions that you have with building that personality, having that consistent experience for the guest. More specifically about omni-channel approaches, how you deal with different guests from different locations. Are there different ways that you have to curate this experience depending on things that they're used to? Maybe just speak a little bit about how technology plays a role in this for you.
I mean, we try to stay on top of it and use technology, and mostly it's more in the booking process and tracking of dynamic rates of our hotels. So that's sort of trying to get a competitive edge through collecting data and filtering that. That's the software we use. Within the hotel itself, we're quite low tech, so there's no iPads in the rooms. There's no TVs really. Also, there's good Wi-Fi if people want to use it, but the idea is to be more disconnected, right? Yeah. That's for us. And then within the hotel, we offer, the content, like we said, if it's certain ritual ceremonies, yoga, meditation. So that's all free of charge, part of the hotel experience. You can take advantage of that, but you don't take advantage of it.
I see.
But in terms of the technology and how the guests use it within the hotel, we're quite low tech.
Well, it should be depending on the destination that you're in. They're coming there basically to turn off and to just enjoy the beach. But you're right, the pre-booking it's a part. And as far as what do you think the social media is playing now, as far as your bookings go? How big of a role has it become versus how it was when you first started?
It exponentially became more and more important on both properties, especially curating your social media and then also reputation management, right? Because in the end, you're very transparent, and we like to be. We're always looking for feedback from guests, but a lot of times you're also very vulnerable to maybe unfair comments that you try to rectify afterwards. But there's only so much you can do. So I think we're working in a day and age where transparency is good, but it can be detrimental at times, depending on how guests react to certain problems, challenges there might have been that maybe you have no influence over. If it's obviously staff related or within the property, then we'd like to obviously rectify that or compensate the guest for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's issues, we can't do anything about them.
I see. So are social media influencing bookings like it has been before, or is it?
I think it's more.
It's more.
People really, really, especially the younger generation, goes out and looks for. Does the search actually for the property a lot through the visual content provided by social media, especially Instagram has become more and more important in terms of the way you present the property and make it attractive. So yes, it's an investment from our end that we have to do that we didn't have before, where it's you have to hire a photographer because you have to have good quality pictures.
Yes.
You have to have one or two people that purely focus on uploading the content, creating stories, responding to inquiries, and managing the account. It's not just you upload a picture and that's it. It's a constant. It's a constant work in progress and management of responses.
Have you started working with influencer marketers yet?
We have on both hotels. So we welcomed in the beginning influencers. We still do. We're very selective in the end also on who we bring in. Has to be sort of in line with our branding. But yes, we do. It helps, I think, if it's used correctly, because in the end, it has to work for both sides.
Yeah, and also it's experiments. You have to test it. It's hard to know just from how it looks on face value what type of effect it can have, how it can resonate with the followers of the people that are representing the property or coming in, experiencing a meal, posting it on their channels.
But I think it has to remain genuine. Right? You cannot seem fake. I think there's a danger that you just oversaturate clients with the news where they feel it's just staged.
Yes.
So it has to be genuine. I think that's the key, and then it helps. I do believe it's a good factor.
Awesome. And what would be something that you know now that you wish you knew when you started out getting into this hotel business? Maybe you could share your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's most of it's first of all, it's a lot of fun. That's why I would never want to change the decision. But there's a lot more things that came up that we didn't anticipate. Which it's the importance of OTAs, how it has risen over the last 4 years. I think sharing economy like Airbnb, if it's not regulated, is a big problem. That's the case, for instance, in Mexico. So there's other markets where they're working better on that, on regulating it, but it can be something that obviously underprices you constantly and changes that destination really quickly. And that's the case for instance Tulum. They're working on this proposal out there to sort of regulate that market. That's really the two factors that we didn't anticipate in terms of how they would affect the hotel business in our destination so fast.
Okay, the economies
And
that you're talking about of the decision, I understand. Now, as far as how has it affected you, the OTAs? Like, have they risen? Have they increased their commissions since?
They haven't increased the commissions, but yet certainly where before we had sales that were driven by direct bookings more than OTAs. Now we're giving away 10 to 50% obviously on our revenue to OTAs, right? So that has to be recovered first of all. So we're trying to obviously increase our ADR, but that has to be justified towards the client at some point. So when you add added quality within the room, within the experience, in order to justify 10 to 50% increase, in order to remain on the same bottom line.
I see. And how has your travelers changed? Are they usually the same people from the same locations? Are you marketing to new locations to kind of make this new destination?
Well, yeah, I mean, Tulum has changed a little bit in the traveler profile. We still get a lot of, obviously, US is a driving market, but sort of Mexico, at least Cancun airport opened up a couple of routes to Russia and Poland and sort of Eastern Europe. So we've seen a lot more from there. There's also direct flights from Turkey with Turkish Airlines. So there's a lot of connecting flights from Israel and the Middle East coming through Turkish Airlines into Cancun. So we're getting a lot more of that market, which hasn't existed before, which we welcome. So it's a great market to receive. So it's a more diverse mix of travelers right now.
Hey, I'm David here, Booking Ninjas, and we're here with Sven Sommar, Hotelier, Miami resident, and real estate entrepreneur. We're here with him, and we're just discussing now some of the things in his hotel and how he made the decision. Now we want to get to know a little bit more about his future plans. It was a big accomplishment to get to this point. Now running and operating 2 hotels, had a significant amount of real estate experience, business experience, speaks how many languages? German, English, Spanish, 3 languages. Now, where do you want to take it from here? You know, you're in Miami, you're operating these 2 luxury hotels, you got a taste of the market.
Yeah.
What are some things that make you curious?
So I've always dreamed of having, more of a retreat kind of hotel in the jungle. So we're looking at some options maybe to have a hotel purely focused on disconnecting. And I think in the day and age, again, we live with so much technology around us. People are willing to pay to get away from that. So there's a couple of properties we're looking at maybe around Tulum and closer to Tulum that we can launch such a project, which would be focused on a holistic approach to spending your vacation and getting away. A lot of spa-driven, yoga, meditation, ceremonies, alternative medicine, and art. Right? So really, but also immersing in art, really having an art workshop where you can go during the day and paint and clay and pottery and sort of work with your hands, because with this I feel we don't do enough anymore, and sort of get inspired by ancient art techniques that have been used in the Mayan culture for many years.
Oh well, that sounds very exciting. So the differences between the hotels that you have now versus something like a retreat style is that people go there to actually fully disconnect and really dive into a topic that of their interest, that they're going to learn something as well, and come out way more fulfilled than just having a restful time, a relaxation.
Correct. I think you can sort of inspire the senses more than just disconnecting, but not just disconnecting with a book on the beach, but inspiring your senses through art and actually creating something while doing something good for your body, which could be meditation or yoga, could be exercise, could be the various things that we're going to offer. And especially we want to do it in a very, very sustainable approach in terms of the energy that we consume, the way we use our black water, the way we build the resort itself or the hotel. The idea is to put it in the middle of the jungle, but really, not sacrifice trees that we don't have to, and whatever trees we have to sacrifice is either replace them, move them, or use them in the building of the hotel. So the idea is to do really low density development to show how that's possible, and work with also materials that are sustainable, which can be either bamboo or the trees that live on the property.
and I'm curious now, why the jungle? Like, what is it about the jungle that it could inspire people's senses more so than in other type of setting?
I just think the peace and quiet that you have, the noises at night that you get to experience when the night sets, the colors, the light fall through the trees, the way you can play with art, and I think with dimensions also in height, where you can hang art from trees, build art within trees, have walkways through trees and tree houses. That's the idea, to have different levels of room categories that are going to be off the ground also.
Wow, I can't wait to see this once it's done. It sounds amazing. So, basically, Sven here has different kind of ideas for the hospitality industry, where he sees a gap that you can inspire more senses, more fulfillment in your vacations, in your stays, that kind of inspire you to do something that you might have wanted to do for a while, which is really dive into yoga, really dive into art, other type of passions that people might have, and also connecting people. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea also of the retreat is obviously we would welcome individual travelers, but really work with groups and try to form a community and work with communities that are formed already. And there's so many movements on wellness out there that you can, I think, attract groups that either know each other or meet on site to collaborate and work together on well-being and that experience.
Wow. Yeah. Is there anybody in the market that you see doing something that you like, similar to this as far as retreats? I know there's Canyon Ranch and there's Pritkin, but these are more like for older type of people looking to get a health check, really improve, get rid of bad habits, or come off like maybe an addiction or something like this. But how is this different than other type of retreats that you might see around in the market now? Are there similar things that you look up to as far as this goes? Because this is kind of a new concept for many people to hear about.
Yeah. Well, I think there's many places that offer space for retreats and offer the opportunity for groups to come to and sort of do their own thing. Our idea is sort of to really offer various options of a menu of activities to do. I see also visiting artists sort of staying on site and then working with groups coming in on sort of the art that they actually produce. Maybe produce some art together, collaborate, produce an art piece during their stay that they're there, that they can maybe be donated, auctioned off, and proceeds can go to charity. I think art is going to be playing a big role, and I think people are looking to get more involved with their hands again and sort of for groundedness. And that's the idea. It can be different if it's working with clay, with pottery, if it's paint, colors, sculpting. Our idea would be to have a visiting artist staying on site permanently and then rotate them, and then have the opportunity of groups coming in to sort of collaborate with that artist, but at the same time also be physically active and be able to do yoga, meditation, go for walks. We have sort of a very sustainably built outdoor gym made from mostly sustainable parts. So people to work out and feel good.
That's fantastic. Yeah, this definitely goes with some of our core values, which is giving back, improving the state of the world, and innovation. So those are the core values of Booking Ninjas, core values of Salesforce, and it's pretty much what motivates us every single day to keep moving forward. I like this idea. I also hear about other people in bigger cities that are looking to build, co-working and hospitality, restaurant, good dining, activity experience all in one. Mm-hmm. This takes it to another level where you're actually using the environment as as part of the attraction in this.
I think there's a need also maybe from a corporate, right? If you're saying that your corporation has similar values, and I think more and more companies tend to think that way, to even do corporate retreats, not just leisure, but really work with companies to come in and take over the entire space and sort of do it as a team building experience, and continue working, being productive there. But have them half the day of doing art and other activities together, just to create different perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And just curious, why Mexico? It seems like maybe not the easiest place to do business in. What attracted you to Mexico? Are you looking at other markets as well?
Yeah, Mexico first. It's an amazing country, amazing people to work with. The fact that I spoke Spanish made it easier. One of my partners has been there for 10 plus years and knows the country really well. So those have been all factors to sort of decide and start in Mexico. We're looking at some opportunities in Panama, in Boca del Toro, which is developing in a very nice way, sustainably focused also. And there's some interesting groups and some interesting projects happening, so we'll tell you more once we're there.
You heard it from Sven, more coming. It sounds like you got a lot of stuff thought through. So we look forward to seeing his next project and seeing more creations, taking hospitality in a different kind of angle, different perspective, mixing luxury with creativity, with art activities, and there's something for everybody. It's a dynamic experience where it's not just one-sided, and you can tell that he's thought through this. Now, of course, not everything is always rosy. There's always issues, things that come up in everybody's journey. Maybe you could share a little bit of experience of something, maybe something that you failed along the way, and how you responded to that.
I think when we took over the properties, I think our sustainability guidelines weren't in line with where we wanted them. So we worked hard on becoming more sustainable in terms of our water consumption, energy production, the way we process our garbage. We are looking for technology to sort of convert our garbage bio-waste to energy. So hopefully we're looking at some options there. We had some talks and meetings the last couple of weeks to hopefully be able to use some of the trash or garbage we produce and convert that into energy. So I think there's a long way ahead still in the way the impact we leave behind as well, especially through hospitality, since it's sort of a high frequented business. So a lot of people passing through, a lot of garbage produced. So I think that's for us is the main challenge. That should be the main focus to figure out how we can treat that better, especially in countries that are developing and don't have the facilities to really take care of their garbage.
I totally agree. The business of business should be to make the world a better place for our grandkids, our great-great-grandkids. Planet Earth is beautiful. We got to keep it that way. And what advice would you give to hoteliers out there, big or small? Because sometimes we get a little bit blinded by making profits, economies to scale. How can hotels, hoteliers, property owners become more eco-friendly, more sustainable? What tips would you give them from things that you learned?
Well, I think bigger is not always better. I think you have to focus. The bottom line is obviously everybody wants to make money, but I think there should be a limit to it. And then at some point you have to see if rather than growing in size, maybe you look internally and figure out a way to become a better business and more responsible. Which there's certain sustainability guidelines everybody has to put for themselves. There's certifications you can do for your property that make sure that you are within sustainability guidelines that are approved nationally, internationally. But yeah, I think everybody needs to put a budget aside and then make sure that the footprint really behind us is reduced.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any websites just for people who are new to this? That's something that they could check to get a certification or check.
Well, there's one called Ocean Global, which is it's a certification. There's Green Key that certifies hotels and hospitality businesses on sustainability guidelines. So those are two that.
All right, guys. Link will be in the description. I want you to visit these websites and see where you stand as far as sustainability. Another important point that Sven mentioned was about increasing budget or creating a budget line item for this. This is very important. A lot of people don't necessarily have this in a budget, and it needs to be. This is just something that we have to do, and it's our duty. All right, perfect. So Sven, I really had enjoyed hearing more about some of your plans, hearing about the story of what got you to these 2 hotels, and I really like it. I wish you a lot of success, and I see it coming. And I wish you a big brand ahead where people could go and visit and experiences different locations, different areas, and create a really big community. So thanks very much.
Awesome.
And
thank you, David.
Yeah. Thank you to Sven. The link will be in the description. Thank you so much.
Thank you.